Hello everybody, specifically all the cluster practitioners that nowadays are working in the cluster world. It's a pleasure for us to share some good practices and thanks to the brilliant consortium for the invitation. Let me introduce myself. My name is Brossa and I am the cluster manager in the packaging cluster that is in Barcelona in Catalonia region. In the field of academic training, I am an engineer with a Master of Business Administration, MBA, and regarding the work experience, I have worked in innovation, fostering new collaborative projects between SMEs, large companies, startups, research centers, and other entities, with the aim to transform companies according to new business trends. I have more than 10 years of experience, and during this time I worked in a business association for 2 years, fostering ICT projects, in a science park for 4 years, attracting international companies, and finally, during more than 6 years, I am the cluster manager in the packaging cluster. I am going to introduce our cluster. Packaging cluster is an entity constituted by Catalan companies in 2012. Today, it has more than 100 active members between companies, knowledge centers, and entities representing all the value chain in our region. The main objective of the packaging cluster is improving the competitiveness of the sector to generate more and better business for companies and organizations in the packaging ecosystem. The improvement comes from the promotion of networking, knowledge, and business, and the entity works by 6 strategic areas: research and development projects, intercluster workshops, innovation conference and seminars, internationalization, business strategy, and training. Every year, the cluster has an annual activities plans and several projects with companies. This year, we will do more than 50 activities and more than 30 projects. The entity is member of 2 public cluster programs in Spain, Catalonia Cluster by Acció from Catalonia government, and Innovative Business Association, AEI, by Ministry of Industry from Spanish government. And finally, I want to explain you that Packaging Cluster received this year the Gold label. This is a qualification by the European Cluster Excellence Initiative, ESIS, started by the European Commission. Now, I introduce 4 good practices with the aim to work better and provide good services as a cluster, and I hope that these tips will help you to maximize the impact in that you provide your sector. The first one is to identify at international level the trends in the value chain that you represent and transform these trends in strategic business challenges for your local companies. Of course, it's very important to understand very well your sector in your region, companies, key people, innovation, that they are developing, etc., to define a good action plan for your cluster. In our case, to achieve this point, we have 3 tools and documents. Strategic update. This is a document that is working jointly with the public and government that defines macro trends, quantify the sector, and define the strategic challenge for your cluster. The second document is Annual Trends Study. It's another interesting document that explains how it's changing your market and shows some examples close to your sector. And the third tool is other data and studies that you can have as a cluster. It's important to identify useful information to share with your members and use it to define better the business challenges. And in this point, in the identify trends and transform it to business challenges, it's very important to discuss in your board of directors and in the assembly with your companies. Take account that when you debate these challenges with your members is a very good point of view for aligning later the strategy and prioritize some actions. The second recommendation is having a good strategy with a good action plans to achieve these challenges. In your case, we have a cluster strategic plan, where in the middle, after 2 years, it is reviewed with our board of directors. An annual action plan, which includes all the activities that are aligned in the 6 areas that we want to foster. A training plan. During a year, we have 6 specific trainings for our members. It is very important to have good skills in the technical area and in the management field. And finally, a list of projects. We have identified some ideas proposed by the cluster or for the companies that we share later to our members. The third tip is measure with KPIs the evolution of your strategy through quantitative and qualitative indicators, where it's important to follow up in a board of directors meeting and in your general assembly with your members. Take account that if you follow the impact of your work, specifically when you do not achieve the expected results, you can adapt your action plan to complete these KPIs defined at the beginning. And the last recommendation, the fourth, is that it's important to align your activity, your projects, services, studies, etc. in a clear and a very good defined strategy. Last year, we prepared the gold label certification, and that is a learning sessions. The important thing is not the result, it's the process. And with this process, you can learn how your day-to-day related to the strategy. Gold label has 31 indicators, and you can ask yourself in every one, how is your entity working? You can think new ideas, new perspectives, new services, and it is a very good tool to identify areas for improvement and prioritize them. Finally, I can share 3 conclusions to work as a cluster practitioner. First one, define a very good strategy according to the trends and challenges that your members can achieve. The second one, involve key people and companies because your entity alone cannot impact in the millions of GDP that your cluster represents. Third one, work as a startup with the lean startup methodology. Clusters usually are a small entity and it's very important focus the resources in the best way and be very fast to provide good and new services and projects for the companies. Thanks to the Brilliant Consortium for the invitation and have a good day. Bye.